Hey guys, Jano Zero, how you doing? I hope all is well in YouTube land. Whatever part of the world that you are in. Okay, we've had several people ask if we can show how we do our rabbit hides to get them to become a useful, this one's ripped, but it can still be used, a piece of use, something that you can use. And how do we do them? So I will tell you in advance, I'm not an expert. This is just how, good Lord, what was that? You okay up there? This is just how we get our rabbit hides to where we can tan them, preserve them, and have a usable piece of fur to do crafts and make hat linings and stuff like that with them. So what we do is we got a regular old rabbit hide that's been skinned. We did not flesh it. I have, from experience, if I put this on my fleshing beam, these especially these meat rabbits that are young rabbits, I try to flesh it. I always tear the hide. So I don't even flesh them. We just put them right straight into our solution. This is a 5-gallon bucket that has probably 3 gallons of water, and for each gallon of water that we use, we put in 1 cup of alum and 1 cup of salt. Any salt will work. We try not to use the iodized salt. We just use regular salt. It will just say salt on the old container. So that's what we have. And then we let these soak in this solution. This is not necessarily a tan more than it is a pickle, but it preserves the hide and it makes them nice and soft and easy to use. So we'll sit these in here, and we're going to leave these in here for probably 7 days, I would say, somewhere around in there. Maybe 10 days, somewhere around there, just until it gets to the point to where the fat and the membrane easily removes and the skin will break pretty easily, and it's pickled. Sometimes you can leave it up to 2 weeks in there. If it's cold outside, you can leave it up to 2 weeks. Don't leave it in the solution very long. Don't leave it any longer than 2 weeks, because your hair will start to slip after that, and then you'll have a bald rabbit hide, and that won't be very good. So stir them every day. Come out and move them around and stir them so that all parts of the fur can get exposed to the solution. You have some places that'll be folded and it won't get soaked, so you want to stir them every day. And then after 10 days, 2 weeks, whenever you get to it, no longer than 2 weeks, your hair will slip. I'm not admitting anything, I'm just saying your hair's going to slip. Then start to check on them after about 9 days, 10 days, and then once we have them ready to be worked next, we'll go to the next step. So we'll see you guys here in the next several days. Okay guys, a couple things that I'm not quite sure if I mentioned in the previous little clip, but when you skin your rabbits, if you do like where it's the whole skin, the tube, where it's like a tube, you're going to want to split that to where you can have it open rather than having like a sock or a mitt or something like that, split it. And any other the hides other than rabbits will be fleshed before this process here. We don't do it to our rabbits because we tear the hides, or I tear the hides whenever I get, with my fleshing knife. So this rabbit here has been in here for, I would say, 10 days, 11 days, somewhere around in there. You'll be able to feel a difference in the skin when you pick it up. It won't be so soft. It'll definitely be whiter, and it'll just feel different. It'll feel like it is. It's pickled. And what you want to do is first of all, you want to give it a good wringing and wring it out. You got to allow that excess water out of there as much as you can. You can just wring it right back into your bucket, because you can do 2 or 3 batches of skins with the same solution here before it starts going bad. And just the wringing process will help start breaking the hide. But rabbits are really easy, and they're really delicate. These are young rabbits that we skinned from our meat rabbits, and they're pretty delicate. So you're going to want to be careful with them. You're going to want to find the bottom of the hide, which means once you find your front legs, I think I ripped the crap out of it. No, I didn't. All right, here we go. Up here are our front legs. So we want to start at the back end of the hide, and we're just going to start working this little membrane. You'll see a little membrane that you're going to start working down, and you want to peel that off, and you want to do it really gently. You can see there's already been a couple places where I have torn this one while I was checking to see if it was ready to do this. You just want to pin it down close with your thumb, pull a little bit, move over to the next little section, pull a little bit, and you want to do that all the way until you get all this membrane off of the skin. And you want to just go slow, take your time. You don't win any prizes if you're the first one done or any of that kind of stuff. You want to go slow so that you have a nice workable piece of material when you're done. So we're just going to keep doing this, and it'll take a couple of minutes, and it may take a couple of, practice hides, which is okay. You can see we've been doing it for a while, and I still make a hole every once in a while. So we're just going to spend the next few minutes, and we're going to take all of this membrane and the flesh. This is the fleshing part right now, off of this skin. We're just going to keep doing that until we get all this inner stuff off. So once I get all this off, then I'll get back with you and we'll go to the next step. Okay, now we've got all our little membrane peeled off, and I'm satisfied that there's nothing left but just skin on there. You can see how white it is, and you can tell that it's starting to pickle and get pretty tough. Now we're just going to bring it into the sink and give it a good rinsing. If you're doing multiple hides at once, feel free to use a bucket or a hose outside if it's warm enough. We're just doing this one for demonstration purposes, but normally we will have a bucket with clean rinse water in it and rinse them out real good to try to rinse the salt and the alum out of the fur. It's a pretty important step, so don't forget. I've done it before, and they feel kind of sticky whenever you do, and you got to re-rinse them and then re-break them. So we're just going to come in here to the sink and give the fur a good rinsing with just regular tap water, lukewarm water. Give it a rinse. See, I pulled a hole in it. It happens. It does happen. Rabbit hides are not very tough, and you got to be gentle, and sometimes it's just hard for me to be gentle. Alright, so now we're going to give it a good rinse. We're going to give it another wringing. Wring it out. This is a black otter Rex, by the way. If anybody's asking, the colors of this hide is black otter. And like I said, outside, the wringing, as long as you do it gently, wringing will help start breaking the hide apart. When I say break the hide, the skin, you want to think of the skin as a fabric that's meshed together real tight. And when you start breaking it and loosening it and stretching it out, it separates those fibers of the skin just a little bit. That makes it real soft. And that's where you get your softness from, on the inside of the skin here. And what you're going to want to do is just kind of start pulling it and stretching it gently and start separating the fibers of the skin. When you get down to the edges are going to rip real easy, just like that. See, I just ripped it. Remember, these are young rabbits. And sometimes I get a little overzealous. I get to working big hides where you got to really pull, and big hides are a workout. And then I get to some little bitty thing and I rip it all apart, and everybody's mad at me because I ripped up the hide. But most of this stuff is going to be sewn into patterns and used for hat linings or mitten linings or something like that. So if you do have a few little tears, a little tear in the middle, you can sew it right back together. And it's not that big of a deal. So now we're going to let it dry for a little bit. Kind of stretch it out a little bit. Here's the leg holes from the front legs. We'll clip them. We're going to snip them right off, because you're not losing much of anything out there, and it's not going to do anything except getting away. So we're going to cut those little leg holes off, and then we're just going to stretch it out a little bit, and we're going to let it dry for about a half hour, 45 minutes or so. Again, we'll let them sit outside and drip, but since we're just doing the one for demonstration, we're just going to put it over the sink and let it drip. And about a half hour, 45 minutes or so, we're going to brush it, and then we're going to continue breaking it. Okay guys, so now what we're going to do is, you can see the fur is all matted and messed up. We're just going to take a little fur comb. If you got a little fur brush, a dog brush, a cat brush, a rabbit brush, or whatever it is, and we're just going to comb the hair out the way that it lays, so it lays down flat and it's all good and separated and will dry evenly. This This isn't a very, I didn't choose a very pretty rabbit hide to work on, and I apologize for that. But now we just fur, it's more of a, an instructional anyway, rather than this isn't just, how to get a usable fur. And we do this with all our furs, no matter if what it is. I mean, all the fur-bearing animals, there's a whole, whether it be coons or possums or beavers or skunks or the deer that we do, everything gets a good brushing so that it dries nice. And I lay it on a little tea towel, that way if you're still a little bit of water in the skin as you're brushing, it doesn't leak out and get on your table or whatever. Lay it flat. Now I'm just going to take it and drape it over the back of a chair or something to let it dry just a little bit more. And we'll continue breaking it. Every few minutes or so, I'll just come by and I'll just take it a little bit at a time. You can see it right here in this darker spot. As you pull it, you can see how it's starting to turn white, and you can feel that it's starting to get soft. And that's what we call breaking it. We're going to do this with the whole skin, and as it's drying is the best time to do it. That way you can do it as it dries, and then when it's dry, it'll already be broke and fluffy. So as it's drying, every few minutes I'll just kind of walk by it, give it a few tugs here and there. The edges, you've got to be real careful on the edges so you don't tear it. And just give it a few tugs. And we'll do this throughout the entire drying process with all the hides that we do. Whether it, like I said, any hides that you're doing, this is how I do it. Some folks will let them dry completely and then break them like that when they're dried. Larger hides, I have found, deer, coon, beaver, it's pretty tough to do that. So just get in the habit of all your furs, when you walk by as it's drying, just get it and kind of give it a few little pulls and tugs here and there and start breaking that hide apart to where it's soft when it's completely dry. So this is what we're going to be doing for the next few hours while this thing is drying. We have it in the house. When you have it in the house with your heat going, it'll dry a little bit quicker than if you're doing it outside, if you're doing a big hide outside. So this is what we're going to be doing for the next couple of hours. So now whenever this is all said and done and it's dry, we'll get back with you, and it will be just about the same as what it is now, except for it'll be dry and ready to be used as a garment. You want it to be soft just like it is now, but dry. So anyway, it'll take a little bit of time, and we'll see you guys when we're done. Okay guys, it's been a little bit longer than what I anticipated, but I got caught up doing some other things. But here, this is what it's going to look like when you start breaking it, and it starts breaking. If you'll notice this section here, how it's going to start turning white when I start stretching it out. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that or not, but another thing that I wanted to show you was this side here is already broke, and it's nice and soft. And you can hear when I'm scratching my fingernail on it, you can hardly hear it. This side over here is not broken yet, and you can hear that it's still, you can see a difference in the softness, and you can see a difference, and you can tell which part is broke and which part is not broke. And we just work it, just pull it and stretch it, work it a little bit at a time, and you can see how it's stretching out and breaking all different directions. And your skin will be larger than what it was when it was wet, because as you're stretching it out, it'll hold that stretch shape. And this is how we get our skins to the soft workable stage. We just sit here and work them like this, a little bit at a time, stretching and pulling and breaking it. A good example will be this is a small deer skin, part of a rawhide that was preserved the same way that these rabbit's hide were. And I'll show you here, I'll use the back of this chair and show you. This one's completely dry, as you can see. And as we start running it over the back of this chair and breaking that skin, you can see how it's turning white and soft. And this is what we'll do with these skins. This one was preserved, like I said, with that alum solution. And you can definitely see now a difference in the area that is starting to break, the softness, versus the part that is still dry. So, and it's starting to get larger and bigger. And I just wanted to use this as an example of how it looks when it starts breaking. You'll see it starting to turn white and separating those fibers. And you can just keep working them and keep working them and stretching them out, and then you'll start noticing that it's starting to get white and soft and supple, and that's what you want. And that's what we do with a lot of our hides. Some of the bigger hides will brain tan and so on, but most of the hides are going to be preserved and tanned in this way and broken in this way, so that we will have usable leather. The gold color that we get from, like when we're making buckskin, the golden color of the leather comes from the smoking process. And I did a video on that last year or something like that. So anyway, this is how we preserve and work our rabbit hides to where we get nice, soft, usable material for lining garments and stuff like that. The fur is nice. We kept it brushed out and is dried, and it's really a good material to use for all kinds of projects. Even if you want to just make some really cool placemats for your coffee table or something like that, you can trim them up to whatever shape you want. You can cut patterns out of them and make mittens, and it's all good to do, and it's all a way to utilize the entire resource of your rabbits that you're raising. So, hope this helps. Hope it all makes sense. If you have any comments or questions, leave them below, and I'll do the best I can. So, you guys, thank you very much for watching. Have a great rest of the day. God bless. The end.
Buzz, buzz, the end.